back to the channel. I'm Holly if you're new, and we're talking about knee pain today. This is the number one thing by far that I hear from people in terms of why they can't run, why they no longer run, why they don't think they could even start it in the first place. We're gonna go through some things today that make it really simple to understand how and why the knee pain comes about and how quickly you can get rid of it. Unless you can pinpoint a specific incident, car crash, you fell, you twisted it, sports related, where you really did something that you know exactly when it happened, I am telling you, this knee pain can and will go away quickly with the routine I give you today. Let's jump in. Now, while I know what I'm giving you today is gonna help tremendously, I am not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor. So there is no replacement for going to the doctor's office, talking through your injury, especially if it was a specific traumatic event, getting the MRI, X-ray, etc. But we are gonna go through stuff today that I know will relieve pain basically immediately. And we're gonna start with a little scan of the knee. All right, if you're watching this video and you've got a race this fall that you are now freaked out about because you think you won't be ready in time because of this injury or this knee pain or whatever you're dealing with, just remember this. How you feel, including that dull pain that won't go away, is simply a response to what you're doing to your body on a daily basis. Let me say that again. What you're doing for your workouts and how you're maintaining your body between those workouts, or if you're lacking in that department completely, that is why your body hurts. It is very simple math. Oftentimes, this did not come out of nowhere. It's a habitual thing, something that you're doing repeatedly that is leading your body to not like it. And that pain is just telling you that. It's just that kind of siren response, getting you that information so that you know that you need to do something about it. And that's why you're at this video. So I just want to say this right now. Your knee pain is very often a result of tight spots in your leg, maybe more than one, maybe just one area. We're gonna identify that right now, but just know we can get rid of this stuff if we just change our approach and address what's going on. If we stay off of it and we kind of play the waiting game, hoping that the pain eventually goes away and we can pick up what we were doing before, we're missing the whole point. We need a new approach to this thing, whether it's our workouts, body maintenance, or both. And so I'm saying that right now to just know you are in the driver's seat, you're in control. We are not at the mercy of our injury, we are gonna take the driver's seat right here. So first thing I want you guys to do is take a seat. I like something elevated off the ground, just so you have some space here. And we're gonna do a little scan of our knees. Now I'm gonna kind of do both, but if you're just dealing with one, just do that right now. And then I obviously want you guys to apply everything we do today to both sides so that you're always feeling good. We can't just fix the one side. It's likely gonna show up on the other if we were already moving that way. We're gonna start with just a little clamp hand right above the knee. So just 2 inches or so above the kneecap, and you're gonna squeeze and you're just gonna kick out and in here. So we're just doing this to feel out some tight spots or areas that give us a little bit of like, whoa, that's the area. A little bit of that electrifying feeling where we can sort of start to see where things are coming from. So I just kind of go up and down, moving my hands a little bit, flexing the leg, bringing it back in, just out and in, just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. But we're just trying to identify, are there any knots that we can obviously feel? Are there any areas that feel like, oh, when I press on that, somewhere else gets a little tingly feeling? Just the start for this. We're gonna do the same thing now just below the kneecap. So squeeze just below that shin, and then I want you guys to just kind of flex and point. So I'm right at the top of the shin. Flex and point that foot, and then work your way just about to mid-calf. You'll usually get something tight right in here. Just consider this a scan, as I said. Other side. So just information to start. This is just a good way to identify where we're gonna be working on the foam roller and on the stretches. It is amazing how fast knee pain goes away when you eradicate those tight areas on a regular basis, because you go out for that next run and now you are primed to land properly in your run. When things are tight and short, they become weak over time because you're not able to use those muscles fully. So we end up relying on areas of our legs that we really shouldn't be putting all the impact on, like the knee joint specifically. All right, so that's enough for now. We're also gonna cross our leg over in the figure 4, and I want you guys to just feel a little range of motion test here. This is a good way to see if the hip is tight, loose, etc., and if it's different side to side. So let's just kind of push. It's very likely that you're up here with the knee. I used to do ballet my whole life, that's why I'm out more open. But if you sit in a desk all day or in the car all day, you might find really tight area on the outside hip, and that's gonna come up later in our routine. So just kind of feeling around there, and we'll switch sides, same thing. Just back and forth, and you can just kind of feel, is one side different than the other? Really amazing how the outer hip down the IT band can affect our knee pain and really make it bad. So we wanna make sure that if we have any info up there, we're gonna get it. Perfect. Last thing, guys, we'll cross over one more time. Just give a little circle, flex and point to the ankles. Let's just see how tight we're working with down there. Again, that can be affected by many things, how we move, how we stretch. Shins, we can see how tight those guys are. It all pulls on the knee, it's all connected. That knee is right in the middle of everything. Same thing other side. We have tight ankles over here. We talk about that a lot in run form, we know. The looser our ankles are, the better, softer landing we're gonna have. Perfect. Okay, so I'm feeling generally even on both sides. I would say my hips are a little uneven, but about even in tightness here. Next thing we're popping down to is the ground, and we're gonna grab a foam roller. And if you guys do not have one, I want you to grab a hard water bottle, anything that you know won't bend, wine bottle would work, anything kind of round that just slightly lift you off the surface that's comfortable to put the body on. So first thing we're gonna hit is our adductor. We're gonna go the inside of that quad, closest to the knee, basically that first area I had you kind of test and squeeze in the scan. And I'm sure that this is gonna be painful for a lot of you guys. I know that it is for me almost every time I do it, even though I do it regularly. So try to mirror this as best you can. We're gonna face this roller basically you're gonna face it at me, like right across the camera like that, maybe a little bit on an angle, especially for me to show you guys. And we're gonna put the inner corner, so right in here, right at the edge of this roller. So I'm gonna lay down over top and get contact with that roller. I'm gonna pull you guys down so you can see, okay? So like I said, I'm going right in here. I am laying all the way down, and you can see my inner corner of that quad is right there. From here, we're just gonna breathe. This can be bent. This is already painful for me, and I am sure it is already painful for some of you guys. So we're just gonna take a big inhale, and we're gonna exhale and breathe onto the spot. One more time, big inhale, and we're gonna exhale, and we're gonna start to slowly extend that leg. Now on this other side, I am totally laying down on this side, no weight. I am not propping myself up at all. I am just focused on body weight heavy on this spot. I'm gonna extend and straighten the leg. Easy here, I'm not flexing the quad, I'm just being easy on it. And then I'm bending back. So it's almost like a lazy kick back in. Like I said, this is already excruciating. I've been traveling, I've been on a lot of planes, and I am feeling that here. So a lot of us spend time seated, and this is probably showing up for you too. So just out and in here, it will eventually loosen up. You can also kind of turn your knee out a little bit to get a flatter pull here versus being right on top. But we're just, again, kind of finding areas to work on. This doesn't need to be crazy. If you need less weight on there, lean more to that side. Just take some weight off. Perfect. Now, you'll feel a little clicking. You'll probably feel a little knot kind of moving around on there. That is totally, I don't want to say it's normal, but it happens to a lot of us. This could be part of why you have pain. Good, let's switch sides, guys. As I said, if you're only having knee pain in one area, in one side I mean, you still want to do this to both sides because you don't want to keep chasing a problem. You just want to be doing good body maintenance on a regular basis. And I am going to tell you guys how often I want you to do this kind of thing. At the end of this video, I'll explain so that we don't feel so overwhelmed. So same thing, I'm just kicking out and in, and then I can do a little bit of a flatter version. I can lean over more, get different corners of the bottom of that adductor. So this is the muscle, it brings your legs in together. When you are trying to keep your feet straight, for example, when you run, say you're really trying to not be duck-footed, you will find yourself using the inner thighs to straighten them out. Now, this isn't always the best approach for how to make yourself run that way, but it is something that helps us keep our alignment, and it can get really tight really quick, those adductors. You can also do little circles here, you see I'm doing. I would say this side for me is a little looser, but still very painful. Good, we're breathing through that. Nice, you can go on top of it a little bit. We're clunked over that area, right at the quad. Your quad basically has 4 parts to it. Everything crosses over each other, so it can get really stuck together really quickly. Especially if you spend a lot of time on your feet as well, not just those seated, but those on your feet as well. Good. Okay. And we're gonna come off here. So that completes adductors. Now we move on to the next section, which is gonna be outer shin. So in my experience, I found kind of the perfect recipe for knee pain is the area we just worked on mixed with the top of the outer shin. So we're gonna orient the roller right at the camera so you guys will be flat on like I am. Now we're gonna do the outer edge right here with this leg, and I'm gonna lean out to the side slightly. So I'm below my kneecap, but I'm on kind of that thicker muscle part right here on the shin. All right, and I'm gonna just put my hands out in front of me on the roller, and back here I have my foot propped. I'm relaxed. This knee is fully down on the ground. I have my lean on the roller, but I have my weight supported on this leg, okay? So I'm just gonna lean onto the hands, light roll, forward and back. That shin is so tight. I will be very surprised if you guys don't feel pain in this area. This is responsible for every time you pick your foot up off the ground, when you walk, when you run. As much as we don't wanna pick up our feet with pressure off the foot every time, like I talk about in form, we do it. And it is just such an overused part of our body, that top of the shin. And we need to work out those knots to, again, relieve pressure on the knee itself. So we come forward and back. Now, I'm gonna turn this way just to show you guys, but we can also lean forward here and circle this foot, both directions. Again, so much pain for me. This is really intense. This is where a lot of my muscle builds up on the lower leg. Also, your footwear can super accentuate this problem or take away from it depending. But if you work hard in that bottom half of the leg, you are feeling this. Good, keep rolling forward and back and circle. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Same thing, we go to the outer side. And then I'm just propped on this knee, just nice and easy. Really recommend doing this on soft surface, I meant to say, a mat or something, or thick carpet, so you don't feel like you're drilling that knee into the ground. It's already in pain, right? So we don't need to add. Good, and we're just gonna breathe through this, and then same thing, guys, just start to circle that foot back there, leaving some pressure. And feel free to work all the way down the shin as well. I was really focusing on that top corner, but you can come down as well. It's just good to find. We are not gonna do the calves today, but pairing this with a good calf roll also really helps this problem, but I'm really hitting the main areas that I know give me trouble, and I think give you guys trouble too. Couple more seconds, breathe through it. Use those hands. Maybe you just sit on one spot and breathe. Good, and we come off there. I want you guys right now to kind of stand up and just walk around, take a little bit of a scan of how the knees are feeling just after those two things. If you've been following along and doing it with me, I want you to just take a little walk around and feel already some relief coming off the knee. I'm sure it's already there. We're gonna finish this guy now with a couch stretch. We're gonna really stretch through the front of the quad, take that pain out of the knee. All right, I am a massive fan of the couch stretch, which is what we're gonna finish with today, and I don't wanna take credit for it. I don't know who originally came up with it, but I know that I learned these modifications from Kelly Starrett, who runs Mobility WOD, and he is phenomenal at figuring out injuries. He has solved some of my biggest, scariest injuries in just a matter of a few stretches. So we're gonna do the couch stretch. I'm gonna make sure that we have a version for everyone. So if this is really intense for you, we're gonna have a version for you, and then you'll work your way up to the more advanced. So first things first, you're gonna need, quite literally, the side of a couch, or you can do this against the wall, but you're gonna need a flat surface to be able to really work your knee right up to the edge of it, and we're gonna prop our leg up here. So I'm gonna have you guys start with one knee down, flat shin right here, and we're gonna bring this other leg hooked up over the couch. Now, if your couch is higher, it's fine. Your foot will just be kind of flat against it. It doesn't need to hook, but it helps if you have a lower one. We're gonna leave this front knee down, and this pushes all the way up against here, so it's a flat shin. This is the beginning. We're gonna leave our hands here, and we're just gonna start to push our hips down towards the ground. You should already start to feel a stretch through that quad and through the front of that hip. If you are not feeling that, that's awesome and very rare, but you are likely feeling it. So we're just gonna take a couple breaths here. Every time you exhale, I want you to drop those hips farther to the ground, pushing from the glute, like push your hips down to make contact with the ground. Obviously it won't, but we wanna think of that sensation to straighten out through the quad. Now from here, guys, the next version will be bringing this bottom knee forward to lift the foot up. So I push into those hands, I push my foot up, and then I can put one hand on either side. Now, a lot of people like to use a broomstick or something to hold as they start to support themselves here. If that's better for you, pause this and go grab that. But this is a good way to kind of warm up to the next level. And whenever you do couch stretch, I want you guys to do about 2 minutes aside, if not a little bit longer. With the rolling, you can kind of take your time on that more, but at least 2 minutes aside on this one. I know it's gnarly, but we want to hold it and really get that full length through this. Really good to do after you run. Okay, the final version of this, guys, is you would walk your hands up, relax this bottom knee, and you come all the way up. This is excruciating, I'm not gonna lie to you. We work through that hip, we're really gonna find all the areas that have been causing our knee problems, but we're also fixing them. So we breathe through here. If you need extra support, cushion under that knee, you're gonna get it. Don't need to damage anything farther, and you're just gonna breathe. And we're eventually looking for that upright position. This is our supporting leg, broomstick if you need it, and we hold. All right, we're gonna come out of this side, and if you're following along, I do wanna do the other side just so we can feel the difference here. We're gonna start the same way, that modified version. Like I said, if you can't come up to the top, you will stay in whichever version of that you can. We pop this leg up here. Again, hook it if you want, otherwise leave it loose. This knee is down. Bring it out a little bit, and we just start to stretch through the front of that quad and the hip. And we breathe here. Good. You can feel in this stretch really how connected the whole leg is, and I feel like there's not always that obvious sensation of it all being connected when you're running, but when you stretch, you can really feel it. Big breath in. Breathe it out. Good. For those of us so inclined, we bring this foot up, and we put the hand on either side of the foot, and we just press. Good. Now, we like to do this against a couch or a wall so that it keeps our leg vertical. We're not spinning it out or in. It really keeps us going foot right over the knee. You can tell I want to turn out here, but it forces me to stay vertical. So everything's coming straight down the front of the leg. Good. I already know this is going to be miserable, but we are going to come up if you have it in you. Hand on the knee. Wow. And you just have to relax too. That's gonna make this a lot easier. You can tell I'm really having trouble pushing my hips forward. So actually on this side, I might stay down on one hand, but if I can do it and tuck my hips under, really pushing the hips forward like someone's pushing behind you. Guys, this is so worth it. So worth it to stay in this stretch, and it gets easier, it really does. Good. One more big breath, and on the exhale, I want you guys to relax what's happening in the stomach. Sometimes the psoas will grip really tight here. Let's go big inhale. And everything, push the stomach out, just relax, and let that hip be loose. Good. As I said, a few minutes each side, but we're gonna come out of that. Awesome. Once more, guys, I want you to stand up right now and walk around a little bit and just feel how different your body already is from those few things. I have one bonus piece to show you that really will put the cherry on top here. I really want you guys to add this when you have time to do it. It's gonna be back on that foam roller for the outer hip. All right, so you guys remember when we did the scan at the beginning of the video, and we also checked your outer hip. We put that foot crossed over, and we kind of just saw how much are we working with on the outer hip. This is gonna be the remedy for if it was tight, and even if it wasn't tight. So I'm gonna orient the foam roller the opposite way this time, so long ways at you guys, and I'm gonna sit across it. So outer glute sits right here. My weight is fully on the roller, but I have support here on my hands and my feet. So I'm kind of just seated. It's as if I'm just totally seated on it, but I'm a little twisted. I feel that outer glute, the true muscle tissue, is what we want to be working on, not the sits bones, anything bone related. You want to be off of those. And we're going to start by just doing a tiny roll forward and back on the roller. So the roller is moving about an inch forward and back, and we're just starting to scan once again, just feeling what areas are tight. When I find something, which I always do, I'm then gonna stay stationary on the roller, but I'm gonna roll down and back just with my body. So knees go down and back. This is just the smallest movement, but we're working across the tight area. This was the biggest thing I learned from Kelly Starrett, was identifying the spot and then breaking things up in stationary place on the roller. We're taught with a roller, like from the beginning of foam rolling, to really move the roller on the ground and go over and back. But once you kind of pinpoint the area and work on breaking everything up that's so tight on that area, that is what really relieves the pain. It's kind of like a senseless massage versus very deep tissue focused, breaking that problem area up. Good. Last thing I want you guys to do, the knee closest to the roller, I'm gonna have you bring all the way up to the other knee and then drop down. And you can also put a hand back here to get a little bit more leverage, but up and down. You just want the tight area of the glute on the roller, but you're just butterflying the one knee. This is awesome. Post road trip, if you've been seated all day, this one just feels good. I always say it feels like your glutes are in a panini press when they're really tight. There might be tingling, burning sensation if you deal with sciatica. I know during COVID, me and a lot of my clients dealt with this, just I was never used to being seated that long. Good, perfect. We're gonna come off here. Other side to finish. I know I keep going on and on in this video, but these things are super important. We're gonna sit you up on the other side and then the little roll forward and back and forward. But this stuff really matters, and this is a good time as we go through this side for me to tell you guys how often I want you to do this. This is not post every single run routine, but this is a maintenance routine that I recommend to do 3 times a week if you are in pain now, and at least twice a week once you've remedied that pain. If you can keep on top of that, call it a 15-minute routine. Do it when the TV's on after dinner, do it something to wind down, turn the lights out, just relax yourself. But this is true maintenance that pays off. Good, we're gonna go to those little forward and back rolls now over the tight spot. If you can do stuff like this, your body is primed to run well and run frequently. If you don't do this, you are constantly battling those pain points, wondering when you can run again, wondering if you'll be able to train again. I have dealt with this so many times, believe me, all these times where my knee starts to ache and I realize I'm just tight. It is such a relief to know that I'm in control of fixing that problem. And that's what I'm really hoping for you guys. So say you do it Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, that's a great schedule. Once the pain finally goes away, say you do it on like a Wednesday, Sunday, something like that, just broken up through the week. But it gives you an opportunity to see problems coming, big problems coming. Good, last thing guys, we'll kind of go back on that hand if we want, just that butterfly down and out. I just think that the more we know, the more we can avoid getting worse. And this really is something that is in your control. If you're gonna ask yourself to go run several miles a week, you also need to know that that body needs to be taken care of between, and this will set you up for way better form for much longer. And honestly, you're just gonna feel less beat up from your runs because of it. Good, last one. Perfect. All right, you guys, that is the routine. I hope you liked it, and I really hope that this made you feel like you have a light at the end of the tunnel, that you are not at the mercy of your injury, that your injury might not be as bad as you think it is. Like I said, if it is, and if it might be, go see the doctor, go get the scan and double check. But this is going to make a world of difference. I hope it helps you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, tell a friend. Let me know you want to see, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.